there's something inherently perverted about going to the bathroom. You right-wingers, and yes, I'm including you in this with this classical liberal BS, are so bad faith. It's incredible.
The former communications director for Republican Representative Nancy Mace has come out to tell people why Nancy Mace has been doing what she's been doing. And in case you've been hiding under a rock over the past week, Nancy Mace has been all over the media with her insane ramblings about bathrooms and trans people. So in this video, there's a few things to get to, because it's not just your communications director that I want to bring up here, but also comments from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her retort to Nancy Mace's BS, as well as Emma Vigeland, the political commentator, and her appearance on Piers Morgan's show, which this is the... I've watched 2 Piers Morgan episodes this week, so bear with me as I try to make it through that clip. But let me first start with just, the base level. Again, in case you've been hiding under a rock for the past week, the media can't help themselves but give in to Nancy Mace's BS. Here is the headline from NBC News here. Nancy Mace says her anti-trans bathroom bill absolutely targets pro-elect, targets Representative-elect Sarah McBride. So Sarah McBride is the first out transgender person to be elected to Congress. And Nancy Mace, of course, has introduced a bathroom bill that is anti-trans. Why? I don't know. I mean, I do know, but we'll get to that in a second here. But it is so wild. The amount of tweets, I think somebody counted something like 220 tweets over a day about this garbage. Here's an example of the kind of trash that Nancy Mace has been putting out. What is this? Well, before I get to the communications director, the former communications director of Nancy Mace, and the clear and obvious reason why Mace is doing all of this, here is AOC's reaction to all of this anti-trans trash.
What Nancy Mace and what Speaker Johnson are doing are endangering all women and girls. Because if you ask them, what is your plan on how to enforce this? They won't come up with an answer. And what it inevitably results in are women and girls who are primed for assault because people are going to want to check their private parts in suspecting who is trans and who is cis and who's doing what. And so the idea that Nancy Mace wants little girls and women to drop trow in front of who? An investigator? Who would that be? In order, because she wants to suspect and point fingers at who she thinks is trans, is disgusting. It is disgusting. And frankly, all it does is allow these Republicans to go around and bully any woman who isn't wearing a skirt because they think she might not look woman enough. People have a right to express themselves, to dress how they want, and to be who they are. And if a woman doesn't look woman enough to a Republican, they want to be able to inspect her genitals to use a bathroom. It's disgusting. And everybody, no matter how you feel on this issue, should reject it completely. What are they doing? They're doing this so that Nancy Mace can make a buck and send a text and fundraise off an email. They're not doing this to protect people. They're endangering women. They're endangering girls of all kinds. And everybody should reject it. It's gross. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So the typical response that Democrats tend to have to this anti-trans trash is, at best, call it a distraction and try and move on. But I think it's important to combat this head on the way AOC did here and discuss what this would actually look like in practice. People inspecting genitals. That's what Nancy Mace wants. That's what she's arguing for. How else are you going to enforce this garbage that she wants? So it's important not to just, give ground to these Republican arguments around their anti-trans hysteria, but to actually combat it with the real world consequences of what they're asking for. This gets to Nancy Mace's former communications director. So the New Republic actually brought this to my attention, that they're saying this is essentially a shallow stunt for attention. So some of the tweets, Natalie Johnson is the former communications director, saying here, if you think this bill is about protecting women and not simply a ploy to get on Fox News, you've been fooled. Tweeting 262 times about a bill that applies to like 0.00001% of Congress in 36 hours is definitely about protecting women. It's certainly not just a ploy for media attention. Quote unquote, protecting women in Congress would be introducing a bill to bar Matt Gaetz, a sexual predator with an affinity for underage girls, from ever walking those halls again, rather than dropping a messaging bill that's sole goal is getting on TV. You can tell Natalie Johnson really does not like her former boss. And then people wondering, why are you saying all this stuff? You guys, I live in Wyoming now. My fucks are zero. So Natalie Johnson just letting it fly, letting people know who they're dealing with here. If it wasn't already obvious that Nancy Mace just loves the camera and is doing whatever she can to find it, which goes again, one of my biggest issues with this story is the fact that the media fell into this. That you don't have to give Nancy Mace the camera. If you see trash that is clear, and look, I'm speaking to people that aren't watching me, but anyone that actually cares, that works in the press, that has access to, the airwaves, should know just to ignore this kind of garbage. It's simply a media ploy. By falling into it, you're not having, the real conversations about politics or this is a serious debate. No, you're giving air to a complete bigot. And you're allowing them to platform themselves and their garbage, not just their trash, but also be able to fundraise off their trash by allowing them to generate the kind of media attention that they want. There's no benefit to giving someone like Nancy Mace attention on an issue like this. One of the biggest issues that I run into when researching a story is knowing if I'm getting the full picture. So having quick access to a variety of sources and their political leanings helps out quite a bit. That's why I use Ground News. So Ground News is an app and website that brings together related stories in one place to highlight important perspectives often overlooked in mainstream media. Every story comes with a visual breakdown of the political bias, reliability, and ownership, all backed by ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organizations. For example, when Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy were given the reins to reshape the U.S. federal government, you can see how many sources covered it, along with their political leanings and the overall bias distribution. And then you can actually go and see how differently it was covered depending on the source. Right-wing outlet Breitbart called it the plan to drain the swamp, while left-leaning PBS NewsHour detailed the potential pitfalls. Go to ground.news/Rational National or scan the QR code for 50% off their unlimited access Vantage plan. This is a limited time offer during election season. So this gets to the clip here from Piers Morgan's show. So again, this is the second time this week I've watched Piers Morgan. I did a video earlier this week on Kyle Klinsky's appearance on there. As I said in the past, Piers Morgan I don't think he has an ideology. I mean, clearly I think he's more conservative, but regardless, I think his ideology is to the dollar, which inherently makes him more conservative. But the reason I say that is because he doesn't mind losing every single debate he's in. Like, Piers Morgan looks like an ass again and again and again and again. So he is happy to get his ass beat in the debate if it means his video is going to get 1 million views. But here is Emma Vigeland completely dismantling this trash.
The point is that Hesketh and Gates have categorically denied any wrongdoing, and none has been proven against them. In Trump's case, it was a civil action, as you know, not a criminal action. The criminal case against him was shuffling paperwork over an alleged one-night stand with a porn star. So it's not quite how you categorized it. Deborah Lee, let me bring you in here.
Has this trans lawmaker been accused of rape? Has this trans lawmaker
No, but actually, if you are a congresswoman, if you're a congresswoman who survives sexual assault, you should be entitled to feel safe in the restroom.
The presence of a trans woman in the bathroom. Oh gosh, I'm in here in New York. There are a lot of multi-gender bathrooms, and I've gone to the bathroom next to a man. Oh my goodness, it was so fearful. What was I going to do with the rest of my life? I mean,
if I found you lurking next to me in a men's restroom, I'd feel fearful. Deborah Lee, let me bring you in here. I just think
that is a ridiculous accusation, Piers.
I didn't make an accusation. It was a statement of fact. I would feel fearful.
You would feel uncomfortable? Why would you feel uncomfortable?
If you were lurking around me in a men's urinal, damn right I'd feel uncomfortable.
Lurking? Who's lurking?
Well, what else would you be doing there?
Is this lawmaker lurking?
What else would you be doing there?
Going to the restroom.
I don't want you going to my restroom. Stick in your own restroom. For my safety, never mind yours.
Okay, but would a man be lurking? Would a biological man, is he lurking next to you?
That's the whole point.
Why is there something inherently perverted about going to the bathroom? You right-wingers, and yes, I'm including you in this with this classical liberal BS, are so bad faith. It's incredible. You are linking sexual abuse and sexual assault to trans people inherently, and that is a bigoted statement.
No, I want trans people to have, I want them to have fairness and equality like the rest of us, just not where it erodes women's rights. But Deborah Lee, you've been listening to this patiently.
But separate
All
but
right,
equal.
Emma,
Separate but equal.
We're four
right,
people
Piers?
on the panel.
Piers Morgan is such a fucking clown. Notice how he doesn't actually directly answer Emma Vigeland's point about how about a man? If you're in a men's restroom and there's a man in the bathroom, does that disturb you? Like, why doesn't that bother you? That's just as much of a threat as anything else. It completely dismantles any kind of argument they have about, fear in the bathroom. It's so weird for people to think, well, when I'm taking a shit, the thing I'm worried about most is getting assaulted. Like, what do you, like, what is this mindset that people have to generate to try and justify their anti-trans bigotry? It's so fucking gross. But Emma Vigeland, clearly breaks it down there. Piers Morgan looks like a clown. Like he'd be afraid of Emma Vigeland in the bathroom. Again, there's no arguments here. It's just complete clownery. Now, I got to end on. Actually, I did this for the when Kyle was on Piers Morgan's show, but I want to just show you a part of the intro here. Like this is how stupid this show is. This is how they intro their episodes.
Who would you like to see run the party now?
Jon Stewart. Honestly, a controversial, charismatic celebrity might make all of the difference.
Possibly the loss would have been worse if Taylor Swift and folks like Oprah weren't working with Kamala Harris.
Although Taylor Swift is popular, obviously she's not that popular because she did not move the needle.
Alan, you deserve a tall glass of shut up juice.
Okay, what is this intro? This editing, the music. I jokingly put on here next time on Survivor. I started this clip with the Survivor intro, or this is how, if you're, I'm an old man, so I used to watch Survivor, but this is how they would preview the next episode, and it goes right in line with this kind of editing.
Next time on Survivor.
What's the future of the Democrats? Who would you like?
Like, it's just Piers Morgan's show treats politics like reality television. It is disgusting the way they turn debates around human rights into debates. I've discussed this before where he's had endless debates around genocide. One side is pro-genocide, the other side is anti-genocide. How is that a debate? What are you debating? Or debates around trans rights. One side is anti-human rights, the other side is pro-human rights. What is the debate here? Trying to generate fake debates out of issues of human rights is disgusting. It is one of the worst things that political media does. And Piers Morgan is at the forefront of that garbage now. It is wild to see what the show is. But I've gone off a tangent here on Piers Morgan. But apart from all of that, Nancy Mace clearly doing all of her trash for the cameras. It is obvious, even from her own former communications director.